Buss replacing her brother Jim with Magic Johnson. Magic will get the title President of Basketball Operations. GM Mitch Kupchak also out. The team will begin a search for a new GM. Even the team's longtime PR director, John Black, was fired. I opened yesterday's show talking about the Red Wedding on Game of Thrones. Apparently, I was a day off. Although really, what happened down the street from here today was more of a bloodless coup. And in a minute, we will get to discussing whether this was a good decision, the timing of it. But first, I just want to highlight the way Jeanie Buss pulled this off. First, it's important to note that while all the Buss kids have an ownership stake in the team, when Jerry Buss was deciding which one should actually inherit running it, Jeanie was not his first choice. She was not even his second choice, despite that she was the kid who graduated with honors and a business degree from USC. Dr. Buss loved his daughter very much, but she was a girl, and he was old school, and in his eyes, that initially disqualified her. And he was very upfront with her about that. So the fact that we are here today with Jeanie calling the shots, removing her brother and still co-owner from a job he very much wanted to do, it's amazing. And the fact that she did it through literally decades of work, proving herself over and over again, handling the team's marketing and business operations to the point where her father finally rewarded her by leaving her in charge in his will. And then over the past few years, wisely playing Jim's own public declarations against him, making him solely own all the basketball team's decisions. It's genius. And she knew that bringing in Magic, probably the most beloved Laker of all time, as her shield for this final push, well, it's what would get this done. We are in a time right now when we are seeing owners like James Dolan, Vivek Ranadive make not just questionable decisions, but what seem like completely reckless ones, changing strategy and temperament with the weather. Only time is going to tell whether Jeanie Buss did the right thing here, but the way she did it, well, underestimate this woman at your own peril. She knows how to get stuff done.
Right now, it lets everybody in the league know that the Lakers are for real again. And I think putting Magic in charge is definitely the best thing to do.
You made the Game of Thrones reference. Mm-hmm. She's Cersei Lannister, right?
Ooh, baby.
Always planning ahead. Everything is a chess move.
Boy, you all right.
I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. Like Coach said, good decision because, like you said, Jim made this bet 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He set himself up. There was really nothing he could say to defend himself at this point. He was the one that made that comment 3 years ago, and now he's out. The question that I have is about the timing, because we're getting to a real sensitive part of the calendar. Unless you've resolved that we're not going to make any moves as a Los Angeles Lakers organization, we're going to sit out this trade deadline. But I think when you're dealing with this time of year, you need someone who's on the ground, knows the context, knows the context of what we're doing here, and can field those conversations, even if they're not the last decision maker. So I would have probably kept Mitch around just to handle this, even as Magic becomes the decision maker having the final say.
Well, it's interesting. Sam Amick from USA Today just put out a tweet saying that Jeanie very much had been interested in DeMarcus Cousins and felt like they could have been a good environment for her. We know that the Lakers were one of the final teams in those discussions with the Kings, but in the end, Mitch Kupchak, Jim Buss, could not get that done. So that might be some insight into the timing. But you make a good point about the trade deadline. Look, Magic, like Vlade Divac in some ways, is an ex-player who has no experience running a team. And the Lakers are being smart. They're not putting him in as the GM.
Right.
They're not saying you're going to be the one doing this. They're looking for an experienced GM. But doing it 2 days before the trade deadline, it's interesting. You have so much insight, Byron. You've been in the room with Mitch Kupchak and Jim Buss. What can you tell us about the way they operate and why that might have led to all of this?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the fact that there was a lot of times where I didn't feel that they were on the same page. You know, I thought they were kind of pulling, just pulling that rope, not really understanding where they wanted to go. And I don't think they were on the same page in a few of the meetings that I was sitting in on. Jeanie has made it clear that right now, the direction that they're going with Magic in charge, they're on the same path. Right. They're in the same direction. And I think that's very important to her moving forward. They want to get back to championship basketball. And that's what we all are used to.
Sensing a theme here.
Yes. You are. So is Magic going to be able to create some magic and fix this?
What you're asking is a star, the caliber of Magic Johnson, going to be able to finally attract stars back to Hollywood? Hell if I know. I mean, look, none of us know.
What answer?
No, we don't. Let's not pretend we know that Magic is going to be a good president of basketball operations. What we do know, or what we think we know, is that Magic, interestingly enough, an extended member of the Buss family, he's more Jerry Buss than Jim Buss ever could dream of being. Like, if they're looking for that magic touch that Jerry Buss used to have when it came to his relationships within the organization, throughout the league, when it came to management, recruiting, that sort of thing, Magic is your man. Now, hopefully, and I think he does, he knows what he doesn't know. And if he surrounds himself with the right people and can bring people together, look, we were in the newsroom this morning. When the news broke, everybody sat up like, ooh, Magic's in charge now.
Yeah.
I mean, they got nowhere to go but up. We know that the basketball people, Mitch Kupchak, who did a fabulous job a few years back, but the last 4 years, certainly not. You know, they weren't getting a job done. Time's up. What do the Lakers have to lose other than more games by making this change and handing it to Magic?
And they seem to have perfected that. Look,
you should be excited if you're a Lakers fan.
Oh, I think
you
so.
should be excited. You should be
very
energized.
excited.
Yes.
You should be excited not only by the fact of Magic being there. I think it's the tandem of Jeanie Buss and Magic Johnson. Look, with Jim Buss and Mitch Kupchak, as you admitted or just said, they were successful a few years ago, okay? But ego, stubbornness, a lot of things.
A fascination with Robert Sacre.
Yeah, fascination with the wrong players,
Yeah.
frankly. Andrew Bynum, another one.
Not knowing what to tell LaMarcus Aldridge in the meeting.
Correct. Like, it was those kind of things that kind of wound up being the banner of their leadership as opposed to the things that they were able to accomplish. I like the fact that Magic said right away that this cannot be done overnight, because I think one of the mistakes that the Lakers have made in recent years is thinking, remember that plan they formulated where they were going to somehow lure Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James at the same time to be Lakers.
They became rather Knicks-ish in selling that wish sandwich. Like, it's going to be an overnight fix. Everybody who's anybody's going to come here.
They kept trying to hit the home run, right? They weren't just trying to just get on base.
Yeah.
And I think Magic understands that there's a recipe there where you have to obviously build through the draft, especially through today's NBA, which has changed a lot.